As journalists rushed to the scene earlier this week to cover a blast in Kabul, an Islamic State suicide bomber, disguised as a member of the media, blew himself up in a secondary blast, killing 9 journalists. It was a stark reminder of the dangers journalists face in conflict zones. Countries at war are still the most dangerous places for the media. But war is far from the only threat to the freedom of press today. According to the annual Press Freedom Index published by Reporters Without Borders, or RSF, hostility towards the media is growing, and not just in authoritarian regimes. The United States, for example, has fallen to 45th place in the index. RSF called President Donald Trump a media-bashing enthusiast who has referred to reporters as enemies of the people. The group says arrests and violence against journalists in the U.S. rose last year.
We do see a correlation between this verbal violence against journalists from the presidency and the physical violence here. But what we also see is the impact worldwide that these remarks against press freedom have.
White House officials say Trump's is one of the most accessible administrations in decades. A spokeswoman called it ridiculous to suggest otherwise. Last year, the number of journalists imprisoned for their work hit a record high, with Turkey, China, and Egypt as the worst offenders, according to the Committee to Protect Journalists. In Europe, the region with the most respect for press freedom, 2 reporters were shot dead in the last 1 year for doing their job. In India, according to RSF, troll armies on social media, allegedly hired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, attacked journalists critical of the government. A female journalist, Gauri Lankesh, was assassinated for criticism of right-wing Hindu extremism. In neighboring Pakistan, journalists and activists fear arrests or enforced disappearances. And RSF says the media is often barred from covering certain issues by the strong military establishment. Journalists say without the right to question the people in power, all the other rights are at risk.
Press freedom is the basic pillar of democracy and is the basic pillar of a society that needs to grow, that wants to grow.
According to Freedom House, global press freedom has declined to its lowest point in 13 years. Only 13% of the world's population enjoys a press that is truly free. Ayesha, Tanzeem, VOA News, Islamabad.